Hey everyone, it's Jeremiah here from People Squad, and in this video we're going to talk about your career as a fantasy RPG video game. What is it that we can learn from these really big, complex, interesting, engaging games that many of us will have played or will have seen or will have heard of? What is it that we can learn from them and apply to our career planning, our career development? You can visit us at peoplesquad.com.au to find out more about who we are and what we do. But why don't we get stuck in here? I've got this game, Vocational Vanguard, a career odyssey that I've mocked up. And we're going to think through a couple of core concepts from fantasy RPGs and have a think about what do they mean for us and our career planning. The first thing is, often in these games, you've got to choose a class, and each of the classes will have strengths or they'll have weaknesses, particular opportunities, particular skills. They'll have particular equipment, particular ways of being in the video game world. And I reckon that's a good metaphor for saying, you know, as you start to think about your career, as you develop your career, you need to know yourself. What are your strengths? What are your preferences? What's your style? That can help you figure out things like what kind of job you might fit into. You know, if you're someone who really loves structure and you really love hierarchy, then a big formal organization or the military or something like that might be really well suited to you. But if you're someone who's very artistic, you like to improvise, you don't like a lot of structure, then something like the military might not work so well for you. It can help you figure out things like organizational fit and industry fit. It can also just help you figure out how to succeed. It's not as if just because you're one class or the other, you can't do certain things, but it may mean that you need to do them in a certain way, or that you need other people around you who can, you know, bring different things to the team that you're a part of. They've got complementary strengths. So this is not about saying, oh, one of these classes is good, one of them is bad, right? We need a full range of people in a workplace, in a team, to get things done. But it is about saying, what do you like? What are your strengths? What are your preferences? What's your style? And how might that shape what jobs and organizations you fit in with? And how might it shape the way that you can succeed? All right, another big thing in fantasy RPGs is the map. They often have these massive detailed maps with all kinds of interesting markers and locations all over the place that you can go and explore, and you can, you know, find different things, meet different people. You can do the main quest, you can do the side quests, and it's kind of up to you how you want to go about this. So, you know, in some ways, this is a great metaphor for figuring out, where do you want to go? Whereabouts on the career map do you want to go? That could be to do with job. What kind of job? What's the destination in terms of job? It could be about level. What level of job do you want to be doing? Do you want to be an individual contributor? Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely essential. Or do you want to be a middle management leader, or do you want to be an executive leader, or do you want to be something else completely? Have a look here on the map. We've got, you know, the freelance frontiers, we've got corporate climb, we've got a whole area for innovation, a whole area for academia, we've got a whole area for the trades and the arts. You know, you probably want to steer clear of the burnout bog if you can. And right in the middle there's that kind of concept of the skills. I reckon early on in your career, one of the things you want to avoid is getting too fixated on one particular destination. Early on in your career, you want to wander around a bit, get a sense of the landscape, have a look at what's out there. Some people will know immediately what they want to do. So if that's you, cool, you know, go for it. But for many people, they don't know. And it's important to have some time figuring it out, exploring, getting a sense of what job, what level, what industry might I be actually interested in. That's one of the great things about something like a graduate program. An organization will bring you in and they will formally move you around the organization every 6 months or so, let you have a look at different jobs, different teams. It's a great way of formally and in a structured way exploring the map. Eventually, I think later on in your career, you do want to end up with a bit of a focus. If you try to jump around the map too much in too many disparate ways, you can get lost and it can be difficult to succeed because in these games, there are certain areas where you need to have done things in a certain order, or it's very difficult. Not impossible, but it is difficult. So I think there is something there about eventually trying to find your area of the map where you want to focus, and then thinking about the order of things that you need to do or discover, or people that you need to meet in order to get there. How do you actually succeed in the Artisans Alliance? How do you actually succeed if you want to be in the corporate world? Once you've figured out that's your focus, then it's about coming up with a bit of a plan about how you're going to do that and be successful. Which leads into the next thing, and that is every one of these games, the character, not only will there be a class, there will be a skill tree. And this is something that fills out over time as the character levels up, right? Because you might want to go somewhere on the map, but the reason why it's impossible is because you don't have the skills. Your character doesn't have the skills. You haven't leveled up enough in order to succeed. So, when it comes to the skill tree, early on, things are very general. Everyone's kind of roughly choosing the same skills, the same capabilities, but pretty quickly, there's opportunities to branch out. And if you're working your way here along the purple skill tree and you decide you want to change direction pretty early on, that's okay. You can backtrack and decide, you know what, I need to build out my character. I need to build out my skills and capabilities in a different way. But if you specialize very, very heavily and you go all the way along into one of these skill branches and you ignore others, that could be great. That could be exactly what you need to do in order to get to the right place on the map. Or you might discover, hold on, I've built up this extremely specialized set of skills, but it doesn't match the destination. It doesn't match the job. It doesn't match the level. It doesn't match the industry that I'm actually interested in. And so early on, again, I think there's a bit of exploring, right? Figuring out what am I good at? Trying out different things at school, at uni, in the workplace to figure out what you're naturally good at, what you can build on and specialize on. But you always want to link it back in the end to the map, because the skills are there in order to empower this journey. The skills are there in order to help you succeed when you get to that particular location and there's a difficult part of the journey where you have to face an opponent, or you have to go through some kind of quest in order to succeed. Okay, so here we've got vocational vanguard, fantasy RPG, and the three big concepts that we've covered is number one, you want to know yourself. Just like you choose a class in one of these games, you want to know yourself. What are your strengths? What are your preferences? What's your style? That might influence the kind of things you will fit into naturally, but it could also just affect how you do things and help you succeed more quickly because you know what your strength and your style is. Next, we talked about the map. Where do you want to go? Don't lock in too early, perhaps. Do some exploring, but then end up with an area of focus and figure out what the order of quests is in order to get there eventually. And that's going to be powered by the skill tree. What are your strengths and capabilities? What's the knowledge that you need to have and you need to build out so that, again, we link it back to the map. You can actually achieve the goal that you're hoping for. Once again, I've been Jeremiah. I am part of People Squad. You can visit us, as you can see there on the screen, at peoplesquad.com.au. Come along, check us out. We'd love to hear from you as well.